Welcome to Generations, a show which helps people 50 and better lead happy, healthy, and productive lives. Here's today's moderator, Jeffrey DeZeller.
Hello, and welcome to Generations. My name is Jeff DeZeller, and I'll be your moderator for today's show. We have an amazing show today. We actually have two guests, so it should be very exciting. Let me introduce everybody at the table. Our first guest is Candy Pettiford.
Yes, thank you. You said it right, yes.
Okay, and our co-host, Nadia Giordana, is with us.
I'm glad to be here today.
Okay, and Midge Bubani, our another co-host, is with us. Hello, Midge, how are you?
I'm great. Nice to be here.
And yet another special treat today. We have a brand new panelist, Mr. Bob Johnston. Bob, maybe if you could spend a few seconds and tell us a little bit about yourself, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I've been in the insurance and financial services industry for the last 30 years or so, and I recently retired a couple months ago, so I'm more free to have some fun and join the show here. It's going to be real exciting.
Well, this is the place for fun, Bob. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And last but not least, our other guest is Riverboat Captain Dan Trudeau. And Dan, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
Great. Okay, with that, maybe talk with Candy a little bit. First of all, Candy was a former co-host
Yeah, I
of
miss you
Generations,
guys. Yeah.
and also a sister show, It's a Woman's World,
That's
I
right.
believe. Candy, I guess you moved away a few years ago
Yes.
to Missouri.
A few years turned into 7 years.
A few years turned into
years.
7 years.
Yes.
Well, maybe you could catch us up briefly on what
Okay.
you've been up to.
Well, what I'm still doing, I have 14. It started, it was like almost 12 shows, but then I've been adding shows. Shows just keep coming out of the woodwork. And I am an author. I'm on my 6th book. And I have 3 children's books, and I have a poetry book, and then a self-help book. What do you owe the things you can do when you're laid up, laid off, or retired? I think all of us can kind of think about that one. And my shows are, the first one I started with was Gloryland. It was African American history. And then the other one is Women of the Bible, and so I do all the different women of the Bible. I have another show called The Glad Hatter with tons of different hats. And it could be, women from the future, the past, the present. And then I have a show for children, Candy Graham's Closet. That's what my grandkids call me. They call me Candy Graham. So Candy Graham's Closet. And I have CDs with that as well. And I try to do fun things for children so that they can come alive and have some fun things too. So, and then I have one called Christ in Christmas. I have quite a few different shows. And as I also said, as we were kind of talking off set, I have one called Elder Speaks. Things we remember in history. Things like, remember cassette tapes? We remember cassette tapes. And I still, believe it or not, I still have a tape recorder. Do anybody else still have a tape?
I still have one somewhere.
Somewhere.
I still have a tape recorder. What about VCR? Don't you still have a VCR?
Yeah,
In the
No?
basement.
absolutely.
In the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But you know what? It's funny, they're saying now CDs are becoming obsolete.
Sure.
And so, next I'll be talking, to people about that. I'll be talking to the elders saying, do you remember CDs? And they'll say, yeah, that was just a year ago. Now that's obsolete. So I talk about
And
different...
LPs are coming back.
LPs are, yes. So, and those are things I talk about. Talk about 45s. We all do you remember 45s?
The little round.
Yes,
Sure.
yeah, absolutely. So those are things that we like to talk about. But what I want to really do is I want to have some young people, like ages of 18 to 20, sit down with the elders and talk to them about it. They will just be gasped by the fact that, really? You guys had to walk, you know how the story goes. You had to walk 10 miles to go to school.
Or you had to
I'll
walk
ride
over
a
to the
horse.
television to turn it on or change channels.
That's another one. That's another one, yes. And it was black and white.
Yes.
No color. So absolutely, yeah. So those are things that my shows that I'm doing, and it's just been becoming a lot of fun.
So your shows are for both, or different shows.
Different
are
shows for different
children
audiences,
and for
different audience of people.
audiences. Yeah.
Yes. So I can get everybody in.
What kind
to
of places do you perform your shows?
Care centers, nursing homes. I have to be honest that they have been left behind. You know, people just don't go and see people in the nursing homes. But I go to nursing homes, I go to colleges, I go to prisons, I go to schools, a lot of schools for children. So pretty much I go pretty much everywhere, anywhere that there's an audience. You know, high school kids, I love talking to them as well, but to see where they're at, you know, because it's a whole different generation now, you guys.
Yes, it is.
Whole different generation. So yeah, that's the fun things that I do. Keeps me busy.
Much appreciated by
Yeah.
the groups that you go.
Yes.
and
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think they can understand because there was a time, because as you see by my hands, I have a disability. And so I'll be trying to put my hats on or different things. And so I'm just like, wait a minute, they're not concerned about that. They're slow themselves. They would like to be able to do things. So I just take my time and enjoy, and I have a really good time with all the elderly and the young people as well. And some of the young people say, what's wrong with your hands? What happened to your hands? You know, and it really draws them in because I'm using my hands to act with, and so they're really watching me. So
They're so genuine when they
oh,
ask
they
those questions.
are. They're so genuine. Yeah, yeah, and they mean nothing by it. So
So would you say, Candy, these are interactive shows, like
Very.
in these facilities and so forth?
especially Elder Speaks.
Okay.
I really need them, just like you when you brought up about the television. I really need them to bring things in. You know, like, oh, remember the crank car or the Model T or whatever. I need them to bring things in. So yeah, I like them to talk and help out with
Well, we're going to need to shift gears in just a second.
Yeah.
Being blessed with two guests today.
Yeah.
Maybe in our last 30 seconds or so for this segment, can you give us any words of wisdom, Candy, or anything that you've
words of wisdom.
come up with in your work?
Do it up until you can't do it anymore. Continue to keep doing what you can do. Just whatever you can do it up until you can't do it anymore.
You're living proof.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amen. All right.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Candy.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure
Thank
to
you,
have
everyone.
you here, and
Yes.
we welcome you to stay with the show.
I'd love to.
You
I
know,
got
put
some
on your
questions for him.
co-host
I
hat.
got some
I
questions
got
for
some
him.
for you.
There you go.
I'm having a tough time being quiet over here.
Well, your wait is over, sir. You don't need to be quiet for much longer. Riverboat Captain Dan Trudeau. Dan, welcome to the show also. We're
Nice to be
thrilled to have you. Dan spent 35 years on the river, basically his whole life, I think, on the river, before he started being a captain. And maybe if you could just give us an idea of the flavor of what you do, Dan.
Well, I just kind of fell into it, you know. I knew some people that their parents had a boat, and it was never the big company, the 6-boat company that it is. I watched it grow and grow and grow, and I guess all these years I didn't think how awesome other people think it is, but it is an accomplishment, and I got to do it without, and I got paid for it.
Did
know.
you get the job first and then the training, or the training first and
I
then the job?
had the job first. I knew the family that started with the boats, and I bartended, and I cooked, and I waited tables, and I painted, and I power washed. I did, and I still do. I'm 50 years old. I still do power wash, and I'm not going to tell anyone what to do if I don't do it myself.
That's right.
And as a captain, you know, if you don't get their respect, they're not going to give you respect. Flat out, it's that simple. So, and then we kept getting another boat, and then we needed people to drive. We had to be 18, so there I go. Or 19 or whatever, I can't. It's a long time ago.
Wow.
So that was the start of it, and here we are all these years later. It's
How many?
What's some of the ups and downs with being a riverboat captain? Besides the waves, as we were saying before.
You have very rarely here. I mean, on the East Coast, a little different story, but you know, you got to put a lot of hours. You got to make it in 7 months in Minnesota, 8 months per se.
Yeah, you're right.
And you really got to know how to deal with people. And you'd be surprised at how many people you can't deal with people. You know, we do weddings, we do this, and then you know, you got the alcohol, and you kind of got to play into everybody's. You know, it's great. The kids are great. You know, it gives you a good feeling that what you do is great. But you know, you have the emergencies too. You have nowadays the peanut allergies who look just like a stroke.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I've seen more, you know, emergencies go out there, more so that it's in their heads. I don't know why it is, but I don't know if I'm answering the question. But it's just, every day is a different day. There's the saying that Riverboat said, in a 24-hour day, you're never going to get the same one twice. It's you don't go, I'm going to go down there and this is how my day is going to go. It's, everything could be going great, and then,
But it sounds exciting.
Yeah, you just got to learn to deal with people.
Yeah, there you go.
Different people every
And
time.
that how do the pecking order on your crew, and
How big are the crews, from your smaller boats to your larger boats?
we have the little boats where I think the max is 60 people. That one I brought up from Albany that we talked about.
Right.
Actually, the Avalon's the biggest one. That was an old casino boat. That it was the St. Joe Frontier Casino, the Quad City Queen. So it was a lot of things, but that was 800 passenger. That is 800 passenger, but since we took it down to about 650, just because that's a lot of people on a boat. So yeah, we can do wide ranges of. You have 800 people, you're talking upwards of 15 to 20.
I have a question. What do you do when you're busy running the boat, and that's a really important thing? And do you get people that want to have a picture with the captain?
Absolutely, and I get treated pretty good for what I do. It's not as easy as people think. You're not just up steering the boat like they like to say, but that's part of it, But yeah, you gotta. I'm human. You're like anyone else. You're going to work. You want someone bugging you every time you go to work. You got to fake the smile. You got to do it for the,
sure.
Kids, absolutely not. I won't turn them down. But you read the group. You read the passengers. You got to, once again, getting back to what I said, you got to know people. And I know a lot of people from the experience, a lot of good people. And I could go on stories about the people I've met just knowing you worked for the Corps of Engineers, and I recognized him when I got here. You just meet a lot of good people, and that's what life's about. It's they can, So I have bad days that you got to fake the smile, but we all do. Every one of us does.
So do your boats go out of La Crosse, did you
Nope,
say?
out of Stillwater, Minnesota.
All of them go out of
Stillwater.
Stillwater?
Yep. One or two brothers out of that lived in Stillwater. They went bankrupt in everything they did, and then they got into the carpet business. They were mechanics. They bought this little wood boat, and that's what they started with. Not a penny to their names, and they grew and grew and grew and grew, and it's this guy never finished the 9th grade. So it shows you that what you can. It was neat to see this transpire and this man take chances, and but yeah, it's a success story.
Would you say the tourism industry is flat, or is it an upswing,
It's
or
on the-
declining, or?
It's on the upswing. We're lucky in Stillwater. I did an interview years ago when I brought a boat up from. We're in a lucky area up here. I mean, people say, "Oh, Minnesota, you live in igloos." No,
right,
we
I
do,
get that too.
but we get the seasons. You can't imagine not having a fall day with the leaves are blowing, or
Right.
or the spring when the puddles are there, and it's. What was your original question? I tend to talk too much.
I can't remember.
Business up or down?
I would say we got affected with the recession that we talked about, that 4 or 5 whenever
2008.
2008.
Right.
We noticed it. It was not so much the tourism, it was the businesses. It was the 3Ms, the Anderson Windows, which is right there in Stillwater Bayport. It was all these companies that pulled back the reins. And if you tell everybody out there that it's a recession, we're going to a recession, what are they going to do? They're going to stop their parties.
Right.
They're going to stop spending money. They're going to stop their picnics, and that hurt us because 70% of the is corporate charters.
Sure.
And the good thing is that the tourism itself is on the upswing. On a Sunday alone, I'll carry 1,300 to 1,400 people. Wow. That's between the hours of 9 and 8. So
And what is that for? What do
we do a brunch. We do a brunch.
Wow.
Lunch with the Dixieland Band on the 2nd and 3rd, and then a dinner trip.
Those are 3 separate
That's
tours.
3 separate tours on one boat, on the Avalon, which carries the 800. So taking that chance, mortgaging his house on that boat was a good thing because, you know,
Those are really fun to do.
Yeah.
I've gone on
yeah.
some
Are
of
you in
those.
Stillwater?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know,
Yeah.
get a few friends together and go on a brunch
And
cruise or
he
something.
does it the right way, and he's always done it the right way, whereas he you know, for a guy who, not so much the education, but the street smarts, he keeps everything, he wants people to come back, not let's get their money while they're here. And he does it the right way, you know? So it's definitely on the upswing. You're seeing a lot, you know, more and more of it, so.
How
But
many,
yet,
how many boats do you,
I
just
run,
that one?
we have
or-
6.
No, so how many do you pilot?
I run them all. Well, I'm in charge of making sure someone is on one of them, everyone. You know, I've been there, I'm the lead pilot, and I've been there for years and years and years. And seems like I just started, but yeah, I drive them all. I mean, it's, you know, some people can drive a couple, some people can't, and so.
Well, if you say you feel like you just started and you've been working there for 30 years, you're a lucky man.
Well, that yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, I kind of, you know, it took away from my boy growing up in my family reunions. I didn't see one for 20 years.
Wow.
Because everything happens when? On a Saturday.
Yeah, that's right, on a weekend,
Yeah.
you're right.
And it's not like I could call in and get someone to take my trip for it, you know? So, I mean, and that was a bad part about it. It's all in or all out, you know? And I wish I would have done more with the music that I was doing. And,
Right.
you know, it's not all about the money. You gotta, you know, leave
I
time for
wish you
other
would have
stuff.
spent your time in a cubicle for 30 years.
No. But no, you're right. But yeah, I get off like 3 months in the winter. I'll take the layoff, and after about 1-2 weeks, I'm ready to just.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't know how the system could get better, but I don't like that. I want to work. You know, you go from working 80 hours a week to waking up and not knowing what to do. So I grab a guitar.
Now, you talked a little bit about music.
Yeah.
Do you hire bands and stuff?
Oh,
You
yeah.
said a Dixieland band or something?
We've
You have
had-
different bands coming?
We have a Dixieland band that plays the Saturday nights and Sundays, but we, you know, most of the bands, we've had Kid Johnny Lang on the boat.
Oh.
We've had the Suburbs. We've had the, I don't even know, Shannon Kirkman. But we do big stuff. Yeah, they're all equipped with, you know, and that's usually the individual groups. Again, the corporate charters that hire the bands, but
Right. Well, I ask because
Yeah.
my daughter's in a band, and she sings at these different places
Really?
around town, so
And
we're going to have to talk
what's the
later.
name of the band?
I'm not sure what the name of the band, but she plays at the Tea House
Really?
on University in Minnesota.
We should talk, because I know.
We should talk.
I know a lot of musicians, and I bet you half. She knows half the
Oh,
ones
she sure does. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big John Dickerson.
Yeah.
Oh,
we had Big John Dickerson
I
on
knew
the
you-
boat.
okay.
We had the other one who carried his bench around, Big Walter.
Okay,
who
yes.
has passed, I heard.
Yes. Yeah.
He used to come down and last one, he'd always nobody would carry his bench. He'd
He'd carry it.
He
Yeah.
wouldn't let anyone
Yep.
touch it.
Yep.
Take him about 45 minutes to get up
Set up.
the stairs, but
Yeah.
once he was on his bench,
He was good to go.
could he sing?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had.
Oh, good. Okay, music. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah,
We'll
so-
talk.
Yeah.
And then you're a musician yourself.
Well, yeah, I dabbled in it. Again, I never thought it was. Did it as a hobby. I kind of did the boats, and I've had a pretty neat life. It's you know, we all want something different that we don't have, but I've enjoyed music. I mean, and it's helped me in a lot of ways. It's in the winters, in that seasonal disorder, depression, when you want to do something, you grab a guitar, and there's something about music that brings people together.
It's hard to worry when you're playing.
It is. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to be in a bad mood when you're playing the guitar and singing whatever you know. So it is. I tell people that you feel bad. If you don't play, and someone asked me, can everyone sing? And I said, listen, we're all born with the same vocal cords, but I chose to do this. If you are trained, you know. I'm helping a guy right now who's 55. Can't play a chord, but
play
you know
a
what?
note, huh?
I enjoy helping him because my first year playing gigs, They didn't turn, my band didn't turn my guitar up because I was a piano player. And we already had one, so I wasn't even turned on, but I just was hiding behind it to look good. So, but then I had to learn, and I've been playing the guitar now 30 years.
Wow.
So I feel bad because I wish more people had that outlet. And you know what that outlet is until you break your head off your guitar. But
Then you glue it up and.
then you glue it up and get
Better than
going.
ever.
That's why you got to have two. That's why you tell the wife, I need another one.
I need a, oh, yeah.
But I mean, I've dabbled with that, and I'll hide a guitar up in the wheelhouse and put it under the thing.
There you go.
On those rainy days when no one's on the top deck, I mean, you'll think yourself to death. People say, how do you go crazy up here? You will, being alone for 15 hours a day by yourself, you gotta find something to do.
You
so I
sure
write
do.
lyrics.
Good.
It's senseless stuff, but I mean, at least it's keeping my hand busy. And,
Sure.
But you'll think yourself to death, and so yeah, I'll sneak a guitar up. And there's many guys who are captains, that 3 or 4 that I know that play. When we do these long trips down to St. Louis for hull inspections, there's 2 or 3 other guys that have the guitar. Yeah, it's odd, and I never figured out why that was, but maybe it is boredom. You know, some days.
Well, were you a loner when you were growing up, or
Nope.
did you just get used to being alone a lot?
On
On the boat.
Yeah, on the boat, I have the wait staff and no, never a loner. I was always I was going to be the center of attention, no matter what, and I still am. I'm told, but no, and but that is hard. It's hard to, but that's just part of that's just part of this job. I'm not up there. That's only 4 months, heavy. But like starting this week, we'll get the water to the boats, de-winterize them, or whatever they want to call that. So there's so much work to do before, we even take a boat out. And then you get the prom season. Then you got a month off till Mother's Day. So you'll do the 6 proms, and then, we'll do we do all our own maintenance, the carpet, the power wash, and the paint, and so.
So you're working now?
Yeah.
You're getting ready for the year.
Yep. Oh, yeah, the guys are down there. I'm here, and the guys are down there out in the cold working. That's okay.
What's the latest that you've started in the spring?
This was probably 10, 11 years ago that it was a year, a weird year. I can't remember the year offhand, where we had the icing still.
Oh, yeah.
And we've done proms where we just go back and forth from here to the wall and back, and you want to get them out, but obviously you can't. But generally, it by the time we're ready to go, it busts through. But this year, I don't know what's going to happen.
How do you work around the tornado season? How does, because you're booked, I assume, all the time, and the storms come in, you don't have much warning.
I've been in a tornado on a boat. Tornadoes, but the good thing about tornadoes, or on the Gulf for that matter, they won't hit the water. Tornadoes will not hit the water.
Really?
It's the temperature of the land and the water. So what a tornado will do is bounce up and bounce up and bounce over the river. So the safest place you can be is on the river, not tied to the dock, because if you're tied to the line, so that's so much. In all the years I've driven, there's probably been 25 trips that have canceled because of wind.
Okay.
And lightning, everything's grounded. But no, a tornado. I got caught in a tornado in Missouri, Cape Girardeau.
Oh, okay,
It
Cape
was a
Girardeau.
big one. It was 6 years ago. And it wiped out Cape Girardeau, and I saw there's nothing we could do.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it bounces up and you don't feel nothing. I have it on tape, and it's tucked away at home, but it's and my brother had been in a tornado and just telling me about years ago. But, oh no, it's still, but if I was home, I could have got the dock. I was going cross country.
Right.
And the river was flooded, so I can't tie off. It's halfway up the trees. So, very rarely are you going to run into that. I've run into it, but you're safe.
Let's talk about the water. Don't you hate the fact to see that they're trashing the water now? Don't you see bottles and they talk about how they're trashing the water?
Yeah, well, the good thing about that is there's more awareness now. There's
Okay.
more groups on the internet. See, the internet can be a good in that sort of thing.
Yes.
Because people will volunteer and you can get it out there quicker, but I think that's making an improvement. I know personally groups, and you're in the Corps of Engineers that have people go out and collect
the bottles and, yeah.
Yeah, and the St. Croix is, you'll get your campers that you'll get the dirty diapers and the bottles of this. But the thing is, people aren't afraid anymore. It seems like if they see that,
Yeah.
they're not gonna turn a blind eye. And the St. Croix River is probably the third cleanest river in the United States, or second or third. They did the test on the St. Croix River compared to regular controlled pH water, and we're in a. We talked about the difference of the Mississippi and the St. Croix in Prescott, and there's no runoff, there's no any commercial, there's no barge traffic anymore. So the St. Croix River is a gem.
It's a fun river.
It is a gem.
Even in the Mississippi, the wildlife has tremendously resurged in the last 30 years, and I'm wondering if you had noticed that too.
Red wing in general.
Right.
But up in Stillwater, there was 15 years you didn't see a bald eagle.
Really?
You just didn't. And you'd see 2 or 3 down in Red Wing, okay? Which is now the more bald eagles than anywhere in the country, I think, is down in where they did the Grumpy Old Men.
Wabasha?
Seriously?
Wabasha.
Wabasha, okay.
Right before there, they have the Eagle Center.
Eagle Museum.
I'm going to tell you one quick story, but yes, that's come back. They've come back in Stillwater. It's amazing. You'll see the nest. They're closer to you. It's like almost like they're okay. We're good now. But I was going through Lock 3 in Prescott, Red Wing, and the gates opened up, and I didn't have a camera. Didn't know it was coming, and it must have been 125 bald eagles.
Wow.
Because when the box gates closed, they went in for the fish. And it's opened up, and it was like it was beautiful. But yes, it's resurged. They're off their endangered species list.
Wonderful.
It's great to see.
We've seen hundreds of swans,
Yep.
hundreds
Yep.
of pelicans.
And it's
They're
not just the
everywhere.
eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fish. Yeah.
Well, it seems hard to believe, but we're almost out of time.
Oh, my goodness.
It goes
Yeah.
faster when you're having fun. Dan, in the last 30 seconds, any thing you'd like to leave us with?
No. I'm glad you had me here, and it's like I said, my whole career, I realize now why people think it's as neat as they think it is, because I was just doing it as a job, but then I realized, you got to realize that it is kind of neat, I wouldn't trade it for anything, but
There you go.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Right.
What a great way to end it on.
then when I retire, I could play guitar.
There you go.
I wouldn't retire if I were you. It was as much fun.
What do they say? Don't lose your day job?
Yeah,
Don't lose your day job?
right.
Okay, with that, we are at the end of our time. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Generations.